Dolphins thirsty, they never show no mercy. On the field or in the game, Miami knows how to play. Dolphins thirsty, we all get down and dirty. Tell you what you wanna know, it's the Dolphins Show. Quench your thirst for all things Miami Dolphins. They are the football kings, cause they play to win. Come on in and have some fun, whether we have lost or we have won. For all things Miami, it's Dolphins Thursday.
Good morning, Miami Dolphin fans. It's Thursday morning. Hey, it's a thirsty Thursday, so you guys are in here, or it's a throwback Thursday if you want to talk about some old time Dolphins talk. But the good news is Chris Brooks' 21-day window is open, so we got all kinds of good stuff to talk about. And yes, you guys were talking about it a bit on the Miss Finn show. Aaron Rodgers' window has opened up in New York, but I'm not concerned with that at all. Let Aaron Rodgers come and play against us. That's fine. We would do okay. I'm not worried about it. Only thing I'm focused on is our Miami Dolphins beating the Commanders this week. That one game at a time mentality, which the Dolphins have taken perfectly this year, is why we haven't had a slip up game. So they talked it. Every coach talks. Oh, you take one game at a time. This team teams to live to it. So I'm loving it. It's a lot of fun. I look forward to Chris Brooks. Yes, he only had like 15 carries all season, something like that. But he's a good blocker. He's good on special teams. And I think he was just starting to get a little action when he got hurt. He played in blowout. The two games he got carries in where, we basically had the Panthers game where he got hurt. And then he had some carries at the end of the Broncos game. Showed promise. But yes, it was in basically mop up duty, as fans like to say. But hey, it's still NFL action out there. So he has some carries under his belt. But he's really good blocking, and he's a special teams contributor. And Achan, we will see if we actually get to see Achan this week. I don't know the plan on Achan. That's how I word it. That we will see. Mike McDaniel says he should be. He is practicing, but he wouldn't commit to his game effort on there. So hey, Jay, Dolphin, Don, back it up, Ben's podcast, Kings, Dolphins 89. All you guys hooked up, Joe. Big fins up to all of you guys. And actually hooked up Joe, gave a nugget I didn't even know. I didn't know that JPP had actually been offered once the Dolphins poached him from the Saints practice squad. The Saints offered him to stay. He chose Miami. That's good. He's coming home. He's from Deerfield Beach. So that is good overall news to hear. He's coming back to South Florida to play football. I knew we had got him. I just thought we poached him, and I did not know about that. Somehow I missed that with all the other news focusing around Chris Brooks and JP's injuries, hard knocks, Aaron Rodgers, all the other news. Somehow that little nugget slipped by me. I knew we had signed him, but I didn't know that. So thank you. Big fins up to you, Joe, for that nugget. Hey, Aquavision, thank you for being here as well. So our Miami Dolphins, we can have a 3-game lead, and I think that's what we all want. We all want that big lead. And I'm going to invite you guys into the room today. I'm going to drop the link. I've been meaning to do that the past few days. So if any of you guys want to come in and talk Miami Dolphins football, you're more. Hey, thank you, Michelle Walters. Thank you very much. Atmos Fins over there is great. All you guys were already over there, so you all know. But if there's anyone in this room that started watching and you don't know about Miss Fins, she has 1,100 subscribers. She puts out great content Monday through Friday. Make sure to go check out the highly entertaining Miss Fins every day of the week, and a couple times a week she has an evening show as well, like on Wednesday nights. Good stuff over there. So, guys, I dropped the link. If any of you guys want to join today, you can join. If not, you can listen. It's always great to have fellow team members that love the Dolphins here in the room, and you guys make it fun to talk. And again, thank you to all of you guys. I'm Mike Ronnie was really. Where did that come from, Jay? Let's see. Good morning. Yes, Lewis Jones. That's what I want to hear. 9-3. Because last year, as we all are well aware, the Miami Dolphins were at 8-3. We went on a 5-game losing streak and had to win a football game on the last week of the season where we didn't even get a touchdown. One on Jason Sanders kicking field goals to get us to the chance to get into the playoffs. Got help later in the day when Buffalo beat New England. So we made it into the playoffs where we lost in the first round to Buffalo. But hey, at least, we made it. But yes, I don't think we're going to have a 5-game losing streak this year. I just don't see it. We have it set up beautifully. Should start this week with a victory. And that's what I'm looking forward to. Don't sleep on the Commanders, though. They can play tough. They play the Eagles down to the wire basically in both games. They've had other good, games. So you just don't know what Commanders team you're going to get. I hope we get the Howe that loves to throw interceptions and not the one that's throwing touchdown pass. Their passing game is definitely the way they're going to try to beat us. I think we match up well with our secondary against them. Hurts that we lost JP because that's one guy that was getting to the quarterback and he was just starting to heat up. And that I do miss a little bit on that front. Hey, Adam, a big fins up to you from the 561. I remember you saying, I just know that county takes forever to drive through every time I have to go up and I visit my son in Gainesville and do whatever I need to in Gainesville. That's always a tough drive. Hey, Jay, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm all right, buddy. How you doing?
All right. So I know you're a big Dolphin fan. Where are you from again? What area?
I'm in South Florida working for cash, but I'm Canadian.
Oh, okay, cool. Hey,
I
well,
live
I
near
know this a lot.
Toronto.
Oh, that's cool. So how did you become a Dolphins fan? That's like Buffalo Bill territory, a lot of them like.
Well, to Canadians, going to Florida is like what British people going to Spain.
Yeah,
So
you're right.
that explains it really. Most of my time though in Florida was in Central, was in St. Petersburg. A lot of old people in St. Pete's, but we did go down to Miami, and you know what isn't there in Miami, and that's all
Yeah.
I'll say.
No, no, of course. Yeah, I know my wife's actually from Canada, but this French speaking side over in Quebec, she's from Montreal. So
Oh
yes,
yeah,
a lot of her family will come down too over the years. They even have come down to South Florida, and that's how she ended up here. But she did it as a traveling nurse, and that's how I met her. So that was good stuff back in the
you're in the
day.
Panhandle though, right? Near
Me?
Alabama. Yeah,
Who, me?
yeah.
No, no, I'm way down in South Florida. I'm in 954 area code. So
Oh, I thought you were in the Panhandle. All right.
yeah,
No, with respect to Rogers and that whole, I talked about my Chinese instructor karate. I
right.
said that if he comes back, it'll be great. He'll re-aggravate his injury. I think it's negligence on Woody Johnson, the owner of the Jets. I mean, it's so stupid if they play him. They're not making the playoffs. They're potentially screwing their next season with
Yeah, I know
putting
they.
him in there.
No, I agree. That's why I'm surprised that I think it's more his wanting to prove that he's different because he's a little bit, he beats to the beat of a different drum, as the saying goes. So I think
Of
he just wants
course,
to
of
show
course.
I think he just wants to show the world. And if he's, who knows who's going to win out? I think he's already maybe shown enough. Hey, hook up Joe's coming into the chat here. Hold on one second. Hook up Joe, but thank you. But yeah, so I think it's just Aaron Rodgers wanting to show the world, hey, look at me. I've done something that's never been done. He wants it part of his legacy, probably. That's probably what I'm looking at. But from a football standpoint, it doesn't even make sense. They're not going to be battling for a playoff spot at this point. I mean, they would have to basically win every single game, and a lot of teams would have to lose a lot of games for them to get
Yeah.
back into, so it's crazy. But anyway, go. Hey, good morning, Joe. How are you?
Good morning, doing good. Yeah, I think most of that's just trying to get some attention on the Jets. That's not we suck. You know, they
Yeah,
just they're still trying to sell some tickets and get some fans interested. But I mean, the likelihood that he's actually going to step on this field to me is like almost nil.
I know that's what I'm thinking. That it's more for show than go, and we will see. He may prove us wrong, and heck, he might play against us. Originally they had circled maybe their Christmas Eve game, but now who knows? The window will be open in time for then he could play for the Dolphins. I mean, it's starting now. He could play this week, but he could play against the Dolphins. Who knows? But like you said yesterday, Joe, I don't even know. Even if I held the Aaron Rodgers this year, if he doesn't get hurt in that first couple snaps of the game, what was it, 3 or 4 snaps into the season, he was done. But he had gotten hit on every single play leading up to that play, and he was going to get hurt at some point this year. But why bring him back behind? Why don't they go wait until the offseason, solidify their offensive line before bringing him back? Do you think that's what would be the wise move to do? Any of you guys can talk on that. So anyway,
Well, I
Jay, what's
agree.
your
You
thought?
should say it shouldn't be up to him though. He's the one
Yeah,
getting paid. He's not the owner. And Aaron Rodgers, I get it. He's always had a chip on his shoulder because Brett Favre didn't embrace him. He was riding the pine for what 3, 4 years. So I get it all, but he needs to be told to just shut up by Woody Johnson, literally if need be. Look, we gave
yeah.
you the money. He's getting paid next year. What's his contract next year? I heard he's
I
getting
think next
paid
year,
like
Joe's pretty good, and Scotty always knows these contracts. One of you guys
yeah,
want to chime in, but I think his money he deferred it, and a lot of his money kicks in next year. So
yeah.
he's
That's
going to
what I
want
heard. I heard 100 million around. I don't know if
yeah
that's
some crazy
accurate, but
yeah, because it was going to be a huge hit this year, but to be able to work in all the people that he deferred some of that money to next season. So next season, his big money year. So he's going to play, even if he's saying, "Well, I'm going to be playing," because he's going to want that money, whether he's sitting on an injury list or he's playing. But do you know the contract status at all, Joe?
I'm just looking at over the cap. It's like 66 million dead money with like just negative 50 million cap savings just out. He's basically there's no way out of him really.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to pay him no matter what,
Yeah. Their
you
only
know.
hope is if he decides to retire if he can't. So, but he's not going
Even
to do that
retirement
unless he. What's that?
even retirement's a weird situation because all that future bonus they gave him has to immediately be paid. So they would take a cap hit where they
Yeah,
pretty
you're
much have
right
no
on that.
team at all that year,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, no, yeah, for sure on that, man. So I don't know. Hey,
well,
at
speaking of
least it's not our
QB,
problem.
Scotty's saying he took a $35 million pay cut in a restructure, like a full pay cut, not just kick it down the road, he's saying, but he actually
Oh,
took a cut
yeah,
over some ridiculous amount they originally
yeah, I
had him
know he
at.
did take a cut, but I know it's still a big hit. But yeah, he did take a cut, and people were surprised. But I guess he wanted to get some of those other players on his team, and then unfortunately, he didn't even get to play with them. Hey, good morning, Steve. By the way, good morning, G Man, and all you guys that are just now rolling in. So, Jay, I'll ask, what's your thoughts for the Commanders? Are you looking at this as a game that the Dolphins should definitely win?
I am considering they have no defense. In particular, Chase Young and Sweat or Sweet, depending on how you enunciate it. I didn't watch much of Washington, but they're gone. And I mean, if you can't beat Washington, Miami doesn't deserve to go to the playoffs. I
Yeah.
mean, they're
Well,
not that
wait.
good of a team.
Yeah. No, this is true. But I mean, teams do slip up against lesser teams all year. Miami has not. The one knock on Miami, of course, we all know is that they haven't beat the good teams on the schedule at the time that we've played them. But that's why I say I think we overanalyze schedules early in the season because look at the Broncos now and they're playing well. They're starting to they could be a serious playoff contender,
Well,
Joe. The Broncos.
I like Sam Howell. Okay, he's just surrounded by a lack of talent and horrible coaching.
No, yeah, Sam Howell's
Okay,
actually I mean, he throws
he's
some
leading the league.
interceptions and stuff, but what quarterback this year doesn't seem to throw interceptions? But But Joe, what's your thoughts on the Commanders game? Are we going to continue our streak of beating the teams that we're supposed to beat?
Yeah, this is one at the beginning of the season that I had pegged as a hard to win game, but now, I mean, we're number one in offense and they're 32nd in defense. I mean,
Yeah, you're right. And that's what I'm looking at too. And I think it should be a game that we get to our ninth win and we finally get that. Hey, it may not be the most great, but last year we couldn't win in December. So it'd be nice to start December. I don't care who it's against. Start the victory because it will. I don't want it to like start crumbling if we lose in December and having that and hearing all that. Oh, how the Dolphins can't win in December. Go out there, take care of business. Might not be as easy as some people are saying, but I think they go out and they handle their business as they have all year against the teams that they're supposed to beat. And how, like I said, he let's see what Howe has. I think he has 19 touchdown passes, which is a lot, 18 touchdown passes and 13 interceptions. So he can throw the rock around, but he can also throw it to the wrong teams, and that's what we need this week. So I'm looking at either Ramsey or Xavier or Holland to come up with some interceptions this week, guys. What do you guys say on that?
Well, yeah, but I'm keen to see what Andrew Van Ginkel brings to the table. I want him to be like at the start of the season. He was good throughout. I don't want a big drop off from Phillips. I'm a wee bit concerned about the drop off, and I want
Yeah.
to see Agba show some stuff too. So
No,
if we can pressurize him, that's correlated with interceptions. At least it can be.
yeah, no, I agree. And I like actually Van Ginkel. I like his game. I think he's a guy that every time he gets a chance, he goes out there and he performs. He could actually play himself into a very, very big contract, maybe not with us, but with another team. If he
I
goes out there
know.
and if he
Yeah.
balls in in Phillips' spot. So
It
Joe,
sucks
what's
that
your
he's going to price himself out of here, I think.
yeah, yeah, he very well could. He's going to probably price himself out of here if he keeps on playing the way he has when he's got and out there. What's your thoughts on all of that, Joe, or whatever you want to talk about?
yeah, I think our defense as a whole is just so good that that there's that I don't see there. I think we're gonna play through the Phillips injury. We're gonna get our, I don't think it's gonna change the number of interceptions we get just because when we rotate in our backups, I think having rotational players that are fresh is actually a good thing too. To be able to just keep pounding somebody with somebody new as opposed to an every down back, I'm sorry, an every down player, so I don't think our defense is going to hold up just as good, and we'll be able to mask the deficiencies of anything from Phillips going down because we did pretty good earlier in the year, and our defense really wasn't as good at the time. So as good as we are now, as well as we progressed, I think it's just going to be absorbed.
Yeah, yeah, so do I. I mean, I hate to see him go out. He's a really good player, and it's just like he was starting to hit his stride. He was really coming in because last week, the previous game against the Raiders, he had a couple sacks, had an interception. This game, he already went out there and got a sack right before, and then he was just balling, batted balls downs, running all over the field, as you saw in the Hard Knocks, and then boom, season over just in an instant. And it's just, but with that said, I'm with you. I think the Dolphins defense is basically what's going to carry us through December. Hopefully, our offense gets back on a roll and we can start playing the complementary football we've heard about for months and months and months. Special teams has been better. The punter can maybe be a little better, but he's actually punted a little bit better recently. So hopefully, and the coverage teams has been better this year. So hopefully, if we just keep on playing complementary football, this December will be one to remember for a positive reason, guys. The past few years we just kind of fade away in December, and by time we're celebrating whatever holiday we celebrate towards the end of the year, it's like the Dolphins are almost irrelevant at that point. So I think this year we're going to be a relevant team into January, guys, which is a good thing.
we've never had such a good end of the year schedule. That's a given between,
Yeah,
two not bad away games in all of December and only two away games in January, which would be the Chiefs championship game and then the Super Bowl. So that's not
yeah,
bad.
no, not at all. And I mean, going into the Ravens is going to be a tough place, but the Ravens are, a, that's a winnable game. I mean, it's a tough game, but it's a winnable game. I think it might be a low scoring game because they have a good defense. We will have a good defense. If you limit Jackson from running all over you, should be a relatively low scoring game. Yes, they have playmakers and Flowers and that other young back that they have that's kind of like our version of Chan, fast little back. Mitchell, I think his last. So they got guys too that can get out there and ball, but they haven't been putting up the big numbers either. So that could be a defensive matchup. The Cowboys game, non-conference, but it's still a game you feel like you want to win because we've been saying, well, we're playing all these tough games on the road. This is a tough team coming to our park. I'm hoping that we can, because the Cowboys have the same knock as the Dolphins. Well, who have they beat? Because they don't tend to do well against the teams that they've played with winning records as well. So we do have a couple. And then Buffalo, who knows what version of Buffalo we're going to get by the end of the season? Are they going to be out of it totally? Are we still going to have to win that game for something? And they're going to want to ruin our seeding, even if they are out of it. So there's going to be a lot of variables we don't know. If Buffalo's in the playoff picture in that game, that could be a really rough game. So we'll see what Buffalo does over the next couple, because they still have a couple of tough games too remaining. I think Buffalo has the toughest schedule, based on winning teams' records, going down the stretch, guys.
The three toughs are Kansas City, Dallas, and Miami.
Yeah. And then they also have to, not that the Chargers or that, but they have to go out there and Chargers and like I said, they got the Cowboys at home too, like you said. So we'll see how that goes. But Miami, if they take care of business this week, we're 3 games up, and that's a nice little comfortable lead to be. We're a full 3 games up. If you drop this one, you get Buffalo that little bit of life back in them that they can catch back up to us. So because they would have any head-to-head matchup. So you don't want that. You just got to go take business this week. Let's see. Hey, my grandfather admitted in front of the whole family that he's addicted. Oh, brother, why did I even started that? Oh, gee, man, you're too much. Let's see. Hey, where's Ender? Oh, good. Hey, good morning, Ender. Oh, gee, man, you almost had me saying, "Hey, Cap for life." Big fins up to you guys. If you're just getting in here and you haven't done so already, hit that thumbs up button for me. We got hooked up Joe in here and Jay. Jay, what's your name?
Jordan.
Jordan. Well, Jordan, thank you for coming in. So Jordan, how long have you been a Miami Dolphin fan? I always curious. I know you're up.
7 years old.
Oh wow.
A lot of that had to do, like I said earlier, with going down to the States, Florida, and
Right.
moreover, being inundated with Buffalo Bills BS.
Yeah.
I'd say about a third of Bills fans are from Southern Ontario.
Wow. Yeah,
Okay,
I know. That's it. I know back in the day, Buffalo actually played a game in Toronto.
oh, they
Like,
played more. They had a series.
yeah,
They played the Dolphins there. I went to that game with Chad Pennington. We destroyed them.
yeah, I
Yeah,
know. So
yeah. And Buffalo Bills fans like Michael Kerr in denial that about a third of their fans are Canadians, but that's fine.
yeah, that's fine. Hey, they get fans from wherever they can up in that region. So,
Yeah.
Joe, I've never even asked you, how long have you been a Dolphins fan, Joe?
Since mid 70s.
Oh, okay. So I think maybe I have asked you that. So I'm like
Yeah, I'm old.
coming in like early 80s is where I really now I was on the earth, back when the Dolphins, well, I was like a little baby, but when my memories kick in, it's like 1980s, like around that 1981 playoff game against the Chargers. That was the epic comeback, only to end in bitter defeat. But that's like the game that I really felt invested. That's the game I first remember like feeling like, oh man, the Dolphins lost, and not just like, oh yeah, it was fun watching. So that's where my memories kick in. So I always just
Yeah.
interested to see how long. Not that it makes a difference because my sons are 21 and 17, diehard fans, and they haven't even won a playoff game in their lifetime. So it doesn't make them less of a fan if you're new or whatever. But just curious to see how long some people have been on the Dolphin train.
The Marino
But,
years were my main years. That's why I got my Marino logo here. That's really my, the ones I remember the most. And
yeah, no, those are the ones. That's where I roll. Those are the ones I remember the most. Like I remember the Woodley years and all of that. Woodley and Strock and AJ Dewey. Those were all my first starting favorite players. Tony Nathan and those guys. But yeah, since it's been a long time. But back then, so you're like me, Joe. You kind of missed the Super Bowl winning years, but you remember the losses. But we took for granted that the Dolphins would always be in the playoffs and always win games. And now it's been 2+ decades since we've even won a playoff game, Joe. So do you
yeah,
think
I
this is the
remember,
year? Yep,
man,
we get.
I remember thinking, I'm tired of making the playoffs. I mean, I actually remember in my head saying, I'd just rather not make the playoffs than make it and lose on that first damn freaking game every time. At that time we were
Yep.
just making the playoffs every time. I was like, how about we have one win and actually get a draft pick and do something with it? Um, and now I'm, this many years later, I'm ready to just win a playoff game.
Me too, man. I want to see a playoff victory. And you know what? Of course, I want more than that. I haven't loaded the bar all the way, but you need that one playoff victory to get the next playoff victory. And sometimes just getting hot right then is all you need, man. Just get that one, get on a roll, and get that monkey off our back. Because we're mentioned up there with the Detroit Lions, when every time they say, "Oh, teams haven't won a playoff game," for whatever. It's Detroit Lions the longest, and we're right next to them. And Detroit may win a playoff game this year. So we definitely want to get off that list because then we may be the longest if we don't this year, guys. That's not a good list to be on.
The Lions are actually one of the only few teams that are top 10 in passing, rushing, offense, and defense, like we are. It's 49ers, them, and us.
The
So
Lions
Hey,
got the same. They get accused of the same stuff Miami is accused of being frauds.
yeah, no, you definitely. There's some, I know I don't like that fraud talk, but I agree. That's what we're accused of being. And hey, the only way we're going to end that is actually going out in there and beating these teams and all of that. But yes, the Cowboys and there are a few other teams that I
Well,
guess
I mean,
have
look at Denver. Denver's 6-5. They win this week. They're 7-5. I mean, are we frauds? I mean, we beat them 70-20.
I know that's what I know, but then you get the people like our Michael K, who's a Bills fan, who's
Oh,
fine.
he'll say anything. He'll say anything to denigrate us.
I know he would say, "Oh, but they have a winning record." But that to me is such a stupid argument because if you play a team like say in the second week of the season and they happen to lose their first game, you beat them in the second week, but then they go on to win 14 games or 13 games in the season, and they're gonna say, "Well, when you played them, they were 0-1." So it's like a
Or they
silly
were
argument.
injured, or they weren't, their coordinators and the system wasn't together, and all this other excuses. I know.
Yeah,
They
no,
make,
people love to move the bar, but the good, and that's it. I know in college football, everyone's saying, "Well, Florida State hasn't played anyone." And granted, I'm not a Florida State fan. Because my son goes to UF, so my money goes to UF. But I'm not a diehard Gator fan like I am with my Dolphins and my Boston Red Sox. Yes, I have to throw the Boston Red Sox in there. But those are my two teams I'm diehard of, and I like the Gators now, and I follow them. But the Gators played them pretty tough. So yes, FSU hasn't really beat anyone, but yes, they deserve to be in the playoffs if they close out and they beat Louisville this week. And then if they do deserve it, they will have their chance. And if they get beat in the playoffs, then so be it. But you can only play the teams on your schedule, Joe. So
exactly.
that's yeah,
That's
you know,
I
that's
never even subscribe to the whole fraud thing because if you really follow the team and you see how we're progressing and you see what we are, then that's what I go by. I don't go by someone's narrative of what they think our win-loss record means and what last year and the year before that and the year before that all combined together. I mean, people talk about our December record and January record when Tua wasn't even here in January. last
Good.
year, and then
No, you're
last
right.
year we had away games in California, and then an away game in California again, and then an away game in the Bills, and that was 3 of our December games. And people are using December stats like it's some indictment on whether or not we can do anything in the future, and we're just going to continue to be hopeless, And that's been my whole take on it. It's just kind of a little weird
Yeah.
and lazy.
But we do have to take care of it. I do agree, though, we got to start winning in December. But like you said, yes, there's other variables that come into it. And I agree on that front because you
I, d-
lose Tua, you do a lot of stuff. But yes, this is the year to put that narrative. And Mike McDaniel often says it. He goes, the only way you put narratives to bed is by defeating that narrative. They say, oh, you can't play a team with a winning record when you play them, or one of those. And he always says, well, I think every team's good. But yes, if you want to say we can't beat a team with a winning record, we're not going to lose that narrative until we do it. So that's just how it rolls. So I respect that side too, though, Joe, because that's how I feel. There's always variables. It's easy to say because Cincinnati is a really good team. They lost a couple games in the beginning of the year with Joe, but he probably wasn't 100%. Then he got healthy and looked really good. Then he got hurt, and now they don't look like it. So that's why I say it's really hard to establish until you get down to the meat of the schedule and you're playing at the end. And hopefully, the teams that win normally are the ones that stay healthy in the key spots along the roster. Every couple of years, you can have a Philadelphia Eagle guys that lose their starting quarterback and have a guy pick up and take them and win the Super Bowl, but those are rare. So health is the main concern. And before I forget, hey, Dolphin Don, welcome to the room. How are you today?
Good
I do have to
morning.
run. Sorry, I got to run. I just wanted to say, fins up to everybody, and thanks for having me up.
Thank you, Joe. Fins up. Know that like button. Thank you, sir.
Fins
So,
up, Joe. Yeah, sorry.
so hold on, Don. Let me get caught up. Flavor
Yes, sir.
J, welcome to the show. Michelle says the only bad game that we play were the Buffalo game. And the game that's most concerning to me was the Kansas City game because that to me is the game that we really could have, should have won. We just couldn't get it done. It was like in sleep mode almost the whole game until the second half when we finally woke up, but it was just a little too late. We couldn't close it out with that final drive. Two awful plays to end the game. But that's a game that, that could be the difference of having to make the Chiefs come to Hard Rock or us having to go out there, unfortunately, to Arrowhead. But, that's the game that sticks in my craw. That game just bugs me. So anyway, welcome, Dolphin John. So how long have you been a Dolphin fan before we get into any more talk?
Well, I was a kid. I was born in '65, so I'm an old guy, and I was actually a Jets fan because I watched Joe Namath. That's my first experience with football. And then the Dolphins came around and they got to the Super Bowl. Played the Cowboys, lost. But I'm still, I'm tracking them because I like that defense. And then the '72 Dolphins. This is how that season went, and I got to tell everybody, even G, hey, this team is so similar to that team because nobody believed in them. Oh, they're gonna get beat. I think we were like 10-0, and we're playing the St. Louis Cardinals on like Monday Night Football, and even Gifford and Dandy Don were up there like, yeah, well, they really haven't played anybody. And just a couple of weeks prior, we'd beat the New England Patriots like 52-0.
Right. That's great.
but
Yeah.
but that team was having fun, just like this one is. I mean, there's so many similarities. We just we even had a Dutch linebacker,
Hey, yes.
Vernon Herder.
Yeah, Vernon. Yes. Hey, I hope you're right in that this team really starts kicking butt. Let's
Well,
see.
even against the Cardinals, they were having big plays, but we just kept coming up with interceptions. We had a great secondary. Uh, and Earl Morrall was just making pass after pass, and we had the running game. They were just so daggone similar. I don't want to cuss.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fine. But I know I get you perfectly. And I hope there's some correlation. I hope this year's team has that magical run. Like G Man says, though, for the narrative to change, the Dolphins have to do something in the playoff. And yes, I agree. It'd be
Yeah.
a very disappointing season if this team gets one and done in the playoffs. It'd be really really surprising to me and really upsetting because I mean this team was built to win this year. This is your year. So the window won't close necessarily this year, but this is a way that they really have it built before they even have to worry about moving arms on some people next year. So if they don't get it done this year, I don't know. It's not very good. This team was built, guys, for right now. I'm enjoying each and every week, but I do
Yeah.
agree with that take from G-Man. This is a year at least to get some playoff victories.
This is the first time I've had that positive vibe um, since then. Like, okay, we're going to really do something this year. And I feel it in my bones, man. I'm sorry. I'll just let you guys know I'm an old man set in my ways.
And you're not that old. You're only like 4 years older than me. So I was born in '69. So you're
Okay.
not that old. Don't make yourself too old.
Oh, hell no. I still exercise. I got it going on, but yeah.
I know I'm just teasing, but but I get you. You've been around. You've seen this rodeo once or twice. A lot
Yeah.
of disappointment over the years, but
Oh,
I do feel like this is a year that the Dolphins get it going and they keep it going in December and into January and hopefully all the way to February playing in the Super Bowl. That'd be the greatest thing, that it's been way too long since we came and mentioned the Dolphins as a serious contender. I know there's some people in the room, G-Man, that doesn't think we're really a serious Super Bowl contender, but I think he is coming around that we are a serious playoff contender. And if you get into the playoffs and division winner, and anything can happen because you just have to get to the dance and then keep winning once you get there. So that's what
I
we
think
need.
Dolphin Don saw some of Sam Howell's games.
oh
He's a
yeah.
Tar Heel guy, aren't you?
Yeah. Definitely saw Sam Howell. And like I said, he reminds me a lot of Josh Allen. Um, he's a little bit reckless, super, super athletic and talented.
Yeah,
So,
no, he can definitely run around. And
mhm.
like I said, I had brought up his numbers before the show started here. So yeah, he has 18 touchdown passes, but 13 interceptions. So you are exactly right on that front. And then I'm going to check his rushing stats here in a minute.
Just a
But
lot
yeah,
smaller than Allen.
yeah, let's see.
He
You guys
doesn't
can
play
go.
like it though.
Yeah, he runs, pretty well for a quarterback. Yeah,
Well, that
you're
freaks me out a little bit. He runs. I don't like quarterbacks that run because we've had problems with them in the past.
yeah, I know. That's a thing that has hurt the Dolphins because last year, like the Dolphins didn't even give up like 100-yard running back, but they had a couple quarterbacks get over 100 yards on them in the game.
Josh
So
Allen, I think, was one of them. One of the games,
Yep.
one
yeah,
run, he
and
got over like 45 yards. I think.
yeah, yeah, and Jackson of the Ravens, he had that huge run on
Oh,
us.
it's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey, Garrett. Welcome, Garrett. But the good thing is, like Dolphin Don says, I'm a little more confident this year. I think this team is playing different. I hate saying that word different, keep on, because every year I probably say, oh, this is different this year, because that's what we Dolphin fans do. But it just feels different this year. The chemistry on the team seems to be in place. Everyone's, you don't hear any rumblings about people being upset with the coach or the coach being upset with certain players or the general manager being mad at the coach or the coach being mad. None of that. It seems like everyone's on the same page and we're winning football games. And that's really all that matters at the end of the day. So I agree with you guys, man. I think, this just has a little different vibe to it and we will see at the end. Does it concern me that we didn't play well against Buffalo? Yes, it did. Does it concern me we couldn't find a way to beat Philadelphia and the Chiefs? Of course. But at the end of the day, we've won all the other games on the schedule. To be at 8-3, heading into December, it's a beautiful thing, guys.
Yeah. And to me, that's fuel on the fire because you see what happened when we blew the hell out of the Broncos. We went up and put goose eggs up. So we want to keep that hunger. Okay, so this team could actually beat us. Go out there and really um, put our all onto it because I
I'm
felt
with
like
you 100% on that take. Just go out, take care of business game by game, and that's what the Dolphins have done well this year. So I don't believe in the trap game or whatever. I
yeah,
don't even think there is a thing because they know that any of these teams can win. That every team you play has players getting paid money too to play football. So there's good talent on any team you take. And I like the aspect of we go week by week. So far, Hard Knocks has not been a distraction to cost us a win. So that's a good thing.
Right.
So we have that. I was a little worried that maybe Hard Knocks is going to be a distraction and whatever. But the 2 weeks that they followed, so far we've come out on top. Yes, granted that we weren't taking on the greatest teams in the world, but how they're doing it, they don't seem distracted. They're going out there. They're used to having cameras around them all their careers anyway. So I'm
Yeah.
happy. Have you guys been watching Hard Knocks at all?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Jay, have you watched it at all? Hard Knocks?
Just a wee bit.
Yeah.
Uh, doesn't intrigue me. I used to like it when I was younger. Remember one of the first episodes was like the Dallas Cowboys and the Baltimore Ravens back in 2000 with Brian Billick. As I
Yeah.
get older, it
Wow.
doesn't intrigue me as much. I
Yeah.
think a lot of the players they play to the cameras and it's not real.
Oh
That's
yeah. No.
just
Yeah.
that's
No.
just
No.
my take.
They played to the camera some, but I like it. I thought episode 2 was very good despite the Phillips injury. I mean, I knew it was coming, and then just the way it played out that they covered him a lot. I wonder if they cover a lot of players during the week, and then they said, "Oh, let's roll with the Jalen Phillips footage since he's the one that got hurt," or they just happen to do all of that on Jalen Phillips, and he happens to get hurt. That's what I don't know on that front, but man, they had covered him leading up, talking to him all the time, and it's just you knew what was coming. You knew the ending of the movie, and it's just like, oh man, but oh well, it is what it is. But yeah, I've liked it. I thought it's been very entertaining. I like Mike McDaniel. Oh, did you guys catch though that what I loved about his after the game speak when they were saying, he was saying, "You guys played well. You did this. You get Saturday and Sunday off." And then someone says, "Victory Monday," and he looks at them and basically says, "F no, are you crazy?" So hey, I thought that was great, Dolphin Don.
That's a coach. That's a coach right there. And I feel like, this, not that any injury is good. I feel like this Jalen Phillips injury is kind of like a galvanizer. It's going to really get this team, give them a soul, uh, going forward.
Yeah.
Um, and not that they don't have one. I'm not saying that, but it really gives them something else to a next level.
Yeah. Hey, Michelle says that 5-game losing streak last season will help keep us focused this year, basically, is
Hey,
what she's saying. And I agree with that. They know they have a recency in their mind that they were looking all sharp last year, loving life, people starting to praise them, and then they went on a bad losing streak. Yes, we went out to California, and that basically ended our season, as unfortunately. So very well said. Oh man, you're talented, Dolphin Dan. You're typing and doing everything in here. That's cool.
well, yeah, I didn't want to overtalk you, but yeah, 1,000%, Michelle. And the other thing that kind of worries me is Tua's playing a little too safe right now. Some of those passes especially the interception, he had somebody over the top he could have just snagged. So
Yeah,
I want to see him, go ahead and let loose a little bit. Don't be
yeah.
afraid.
Those two interceptions he threw. I know one ended up benefiting us in the long run because we end up getting the pick six that Dolphin fans will be talking about forever.
Yeah.
But it's the first one where it was their pick, the Jets pick six, that got them right back in the game. You saw everyone watching the game saw it coming because you could see the guy running up ready to grab the ball, and you're like, no, no, no. It was over before you knew it. But it's just it happens. But like you said, yeah, I think he was being conservative, trying to play the sideline, maybe because of timing or whatever. But yeah, it would have
Mhm.
been nice for him to take a big shot down the field. But so hopefully they clean that up because McDaniel, he's not going to just run out if there's like a few seconds left on the clock at the end of the half. He's going to try to get points at the end of the half. That's just how he rolls. It's in his DNA. He's not going to kneel it if he has like 30 seconds left and only one timeout. He doesn't care. He's going to go try to get as many yards as he can and get into at least field goal range. So You know it's coming, but yeah, Tua needs to clean up the interceptions, guys. That's for sure.
Yeah, he was being a little hyper conservative there. Like, oh, let's run the clock out, let's do this. And when you become that predictable, the defense is definitely going to start playing short on you. And that's what San Francisco did to us last year. That's what the Chargers did. Um, the Eagles to a certain extent. So I'd
Yeah.
like to see him take some more deep shots there. Go ahead and just let it hang out.
No, I know. I mean, if they have the coverage, because he probably reads the coverage, and the coverage probably shows that
Mhm.
they got the deep portion covered, maybe. But yeah, sometimes you still gotta let your playmakers just go out and make some plays. And well, I don't know. We will see, man. This will be interesting to see. And like the third and shorts and fourth and shorts, that's going to be interesting to see because McDaniel was asked about it in his press conference yesterday, and he says yes, he knows he has a tendency to pass more in that, and that he's going to look into it and see what they do running the football more. But he's not going to give his game plan, of course. He's not going to tell him, yeah, we're just going to run it every single time because
Right.
then they're going to be stacking up against that. So hopefully on third and ones they become a little more confident. I know we don't have the Philadelphia Eagles brotherly shove or tush push, whatever little rhyme you want to go with on that Philadelphia QB sneak, because that's almost like a cheat code, man. They get a first down every single time. It's like a 1 yard. Sometimes they even get like 2 yards off that darn thing. So it's insane how they do it. So we don't have anything like that. But would you guys like to see, Jay? Would you like to see a little more pounding the football, like on the third and run?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I keep saying it's Adam Gase-ish. Watching these throws on third, like it's not even one. It's like third and a half a yard. It's
That's a good
BS.
point.
I've always,
Yeah.
hey, I'll leave you with this. When Dave Wanstatt was here, and he wasn't very creative, we had a short yardage package with Ray Lucas for quarterback sneaks and for stuff like that. He'd come into the game. Why is there no short yardage package when you've got a 6'4", 235-pound guy in Mike White for quarterback sneaks, run, and once in a while just play action it? Okay,
Yeah.
well, why don't we have that?
No, I
That's a
know
good
we
point.
should
Yeah.
have some package that we can just I
Yeah,
don't know. Maybe he's saving some of that, maybe he just doesn't want to show on film. Maybe he will start pounding the rock because we did do a third and short finally against the Jets where they ran it. And I think it was Jeff Wilson. Maybe it was Mo. I forget, but I think it was Jeff Wilson picked up the first down. So you just, you never know. So I say just keep
I
on.
think the Jets have quit on Sala. I could be wrong. The Jets they look very flat, like they gave up.
Who was that? I'm sorry. What
I
team
think
gave
I
up?
think they've quit on their coach, the Jets players, especially the defense. They're
Yeah,
just
yeah.
tired of it.
Yeah, they did. That's why I think this whole Aaron Rodgers time, because there was some rumors that it looked like the Jets kind of gave up against the Bills in the second half of that game, and the Bills
Oh,
were able
for
to get a
sure
lot of
they
points.
did.
And then the Black Friday game, same result. So they were saying, "Oh, okay." And then time to do something. So they bring Aaron Rodgers back to try to get the energy around the team again and motivate them. And so, hey, look, we got this. So hey, welcome back, Joe. It fumes us to see to go 4-4, but Emin in the last game, we were leaving them around the 5 yard line with an offense that had gone nowhere. Yeah, I mean that is true. I mean that is true. Hey, Miss Fins, big fins up. I'm sure all you guys already follow her, but and subscribe. Great content over there. But yeah, man, it's just I think we as fans and McDaniel fairly points out, though, that fans often play the result because he said in one, not this last one, but a few weeks ago, he goes, well, if I run there and we get stuffed, everyone's going to say, oh, you guys got a Tariq Hill and you got a Waddle and you don't try to go do that. So we do as fans. I admit I'm guilty sometimes probably playing the result. But I would like to see some pounding of the football. It keeps them more honest because they just blow up those screens on our short yardage plays. They just almost know those screens are coming, and we just don't have the blocking out there. They're just blowing Tyreek Hill up the minute he's catching them on the. We surprise them sometimes on earlier downs when we run those screens and we gain some good yardage, but when they know it's coming, Dolphin John, it just seems like they blow up those screens.
Yeah, and I agree. Jordan said that Salah has probably lost the locker room because I was licking my chops when I learned that Zach Wilson wasn't going to be starting against us. I was like, Tim, who?
Yeah.
And I was like, that didn't earn Salah any credit amongst the locker room. I'm positive of that.
Well,
Yeah.
I think he's in caught between a rock and a hard place. I don't think the players were going to play for him if Wilson started. So he's like, well, I better put Boyle in there, do something, because
Yeah,
the players look. Zach Wilson hasn't endeared himself to many players in the Jets
no,
locker room.
No,
Right?
he
Is
has.
that fair?
Yeah, no,
yeah,
it's more than fair because I remember a lot of them were wearing "I love Mike White" shirts and all of that last year, and that kind of ruffled the locker room up because people were saying they wanted to have Mike White starting than Zach Wilson. So it's
Well, he
just
looked better at times, Mike White, than Wilson.
yeah, no, they missed on that pick. It happens. It happens. If they would have lost one more game that year, they would have had Trevor Lawrence, but they beat some team at the end of the year, and they got Jacksonville jumped over
Thank
them
God.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yep. What's that?
I said thank God, because if
Yeah,
they
I
would have
know.
got Lawrence, we would have been effed.
I know. I'm happy because then they had to overpay for go get Aaron Rodgers and give him a boatload of money. Even if, like Scotty said, he took a little bit of a office money, but it's still big money. They would have had Trevor Lawrence for a few years on the young. He's an up and coming player,
He might
and
have dominated the division and terrorized it like Brady for the next 2 decades.
I know I'm happy that he's not a Jet. You
That's why
know,
we got to root for the Patriots to win a couple games. I don't want them to be getting Caleb Williams or Drake May.
I know me either, man.
oh yeah,
I know. That's what I don't
Please
want
win at
either. But
least a
they're like,
game.
yeah. And Scotty was always saying that he thought the Patriots would try to tank this year, and he may be right at the end of the day, but I still think they're trying to win. They're just not very good. So because they were trying to beat the Giants, they tried to kick a field goal and all of that, and he missed it. So it's just who knows, but yeah, hopefully they can beat. They do have to play the Jets one more time this year, so maybe they'll beat the Jets, and they can fall down a little bit down the draft order, but who knows? But yeah, I don't want them getting a good quarterback already so soon because look how long it's been for us to finally get a quarterback that's at least playing well for how long it's been since Dan Marino. Because it's like Dan Marino, 50 other quarterback, Ryan Tannehill finally falls in. He was okay. And then you get Tua. And I know, Jay, you're not as big a fan on Tua as some other Dolphin fans are, but he has his chance this year to hopefully prove you wrong and stuff. So
The whole thing with Tua is, what's Tua going to be like when Hill is gone and when some of those offensive linemen are gone? That's a $64,000 question. And with
yeah.
me, Tua is a slightly above average quarterback. He's top 15, and he's not a guy that should be getting paid like a Mahomes, like a Burrow, like an Allen,
Okay.
or
So
even a Hurts.
you're
but that's
okay
our
with him.
advantage.
You just don't think he's elite, but you think he's a solid
Yeah, I
NFL
think he's
quarterback.
worth about $35 million a year.
He's good, like Greasy.
Yeah,
Right.
he's nothing special though. That's
Hey,
that's that's my opinion.
I'll take good like Greasy.
Yeah, I would
It's
take
just
good
with
like
the salary cap, man.
yeah. I would take good like no, that's fine, man. That's what makes this room great. I'm literally on the fence on him. I want to see him play out this year. So far, he's playing well this year. Yes, he's slumped off a little bit, but I want to say, let me see how he plays out this year with a whole year of staying healthy, knock on wood. See what we do in the playoffs with him. That's going to be the telltale sign to me on how long we keep on going because this is the team. If he can't win with the talent that's on this team and the coaching staff that is caters this offense to his style, you finally got someone. Now this is the second year in the system. To me, this is a fair judgment of two. This is really the first fair year that you can really judge him on the whole thing if he stays healthy. What's your stance on Tua, Don?
Well, I think it's confidence. When I was talking about earlier, I want to see him take some deeper shots. Um, you can see in his little mannerisms, he kind of self comforts himself when he's talking. And so that to me tells me he's not completely out of his shell yet. I want to see Stud Bull go out there. Hey, you know what? I'm going to take this team and we're going to drive all the way down the field and we're going to get a touchdown. Just a
I know
silent
you don't see
confidence.
that alpha male in him.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And I think it's Polynesian heritage, maybe. Hey, you're supposed to be humble. I get it, but yeah, that's what he needs to kind of develop. In my opinion.
Well, he did get the first week of the season. He did have that kind of defining drive where he went and they got a touchdown when they needed it against. Yes, the Chargers are now known not to be a very good team, but so that he can get it done. But yes, like when it comes clutch here in December, when it's everything's on the line. You got to get the winning drive to win a game in December, in January, and in the playoffs. That's where I agree with you guys. That's where he's going to make his legacy. So we're going to
Yep,
see if he can get that done. And hopefully he does get it done. And because we all want him to be a success because we're all Dolphin fans. And if he's a success, it's a good chance the Dolphins are a success in today's NFL quarterback driven league. So we want our quarterback to be a success. So and I
exactly.
think we're all on the same page on that.
Yep.
One of you got Jay. Go ahead, Jay. Jordan.
Well, in the playoffs, okay, I think we're going to go there. With respect to Tua, I don't want Mike McDaniel to. I'm trying to be diplomatic how I say this. I'll just put it bluntly. I want him to put Tua on the spot.
Good.
Okay,
Yeah.
if Tua is going to throw interceptions, then he'll throw interceptions. I don't want him to mollycoddle Tua because this is going to have bearing on his contract. He has to earn that 45, 50 million or whatever he earns for in his agent. Don't try to mollycoddle him. Don't you got to put him in a position to win, but don't baby him. Don't pamper him at all.
Yeah,
Is that fair? Make him earn it.
Yeah,
I know
he's got
because
the
I
skills. Let's
yeah,
do it.
yeah because I know
That's
right at
right.
the end of the first half you saw it in Hard Knocks. He throws the two interceptions against the Jets, and they come in there, and he's like, "Hey, don't worry about those. You got this." And he too is like, "Yep, yep, I know, I know, I know." So I'm like, man, but don't blow it off that much, man. It's just, but I guess it's confidence, you could say. So he was like, they were saying just shake them off. And and two was pretty much like, yeah, yeah, I know, I got this. So I guess that's about where they stand on that front. Did you guys catch that where they were in the locker room
Yeah,
after his two interceptions to close out the half?
and that's where I saw the self comforting a little bit, and I was like, okay, hey, I get it, but that should piss you off. Go out there and grab it. Let's
Yeah,
get this.
yeah, I know. Hey, you could tell them, hey, otherwise pretty solid half. Two, but those you got to cut that two interceptions out at the end, So you
Yeah,
got to be
yeah.
smarter with the football.
In fairness, I don't blame him for the second one. I'll tell you
No.
why. I don't
Yeah,
think
no,
Mike
that was a bad
McDaniel.
play. Yeah,
I don't think Mike McDaniel did the right thing. I think he should have just ran the ball, even though it ended up working out because they with Holland with the Hail Mary return. But I would have just taken a knee and went to the half down 10-6. Okay, we had no timeouts there. What
yeah, yeah.
do you remember that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, you're right. No,
I don't.
you're
I
right.
don't blame him for the second interception, and I'm not a huge Tua fan. So if I'm saying that, I must really mean it. Okay, I'm not against him. I'm just like I said, he's above average, and that's what I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I, like I say, I'm Stu. I believe he's good enough to win, and at the end of the day, that's what matters. So I'm hoping this is a year that he steps up there and he does it.
But
You remember I grew up during the Dan Marino era, so I'm spoiled. I'm used to my quarterback, and I'm not. I'm only like 5'8", so don't. I'm not being height prejudiced here. I just like my quarterback 6'3" with a rocket arm, six foot
Yeah.
two, 6'3", rocket arm, and that's what I'm used to having my quarterback. Tua's not that. But can Tua still bring us something that Dan Marino never did and get us a Super Bowl victory? Hey, I'd be a fan of Tua forever. I'm already a fan because he's on my team, but you know what I mean. I would rank him up there highly among the Dolphins quarterbacks if we can get that big W, guys.
Well,
I'm a Greasy
nowadays
fan.
quarterbacks are good. Good, a lot of good quarterbacks are at least 6'4", 230.
Yeah. No, I know. And then, but then, you get some other ones that aren't as big, I guess. I'm just used to it because that's what I grew up with. Is that's what I
Oh, I
expected.
get you.
The
Hey,
ones that are just big, durable. Because yes, Dan Marino's, would get hurt here and there, but for a long time he had a long consecutive game streak where he didn't miss any time.
It's such
And
a quick release, man, and it
yeah,
helps in the '90s when you got Richmond Webb as your left tackle, and then
yeah,
you had
no,
Keith Sims as his left guard. You had a good offensive line for the most part too. It was hard to
yeah,
sack him.
yeah.
hey, Tua is the second coming of Bob Greasy, man. Should call him Tua Taga Greasy.
Hey, there you go. Hey, I would love it, man, because like you said, if you look at Greasy's numbers, they're not Hall of
Yeah,
Fame numbers, but he
no,
was on a team that, was a perfect team, won a second Super Bowl, so he made it
super
in. I
accurate.
don't, with those numbers today, he wouldn't even make the Hall of
No,
Fame now. If he still won
It
the
was a
two Super
different
Bowls.
game back then, man.
No,
oh
yeah, it
yeah,
was. I mean,
yeah.
we had Zonka, Kick, Mercury Morris. So I mean, that was the. I mean, of course, we had a Hall of Fame receiver in Paul Warfield as well. But all
Very
I
similar,
know from
huh?
those teams are the highlights I see from the games and the replays. But it was just a whole different era of football.
You just said it. It's very similar, isn't it? Super receivers, great defensive backs, great running backs, good running game,
Yep.
strong defense. Dude,
Yep.
mm,
Hey, I don't know. And like I say, and they say defense wins championships as much as fans love offense. At the end, as defense starts coming up, and they're the ones that once they can get a few stops, and it's maybe a different definition of defense than the old days where they just totally shut down an opponent. But you just have a defense good enough to come up with some interceptions and some fumbles and some sacks to disrupt them enough to where they don't put a 30 on you and the 40 on you, and your offense can score in the 20s and win the game or something. So and I think our defense is might be the strength of our team already, and it may be by the end of the season definitely the strength of the team. The strength of the team was the offense getting all the headlines to start this season, which is going to happen when you put up 70 points on a team in the NFL. So your offense definitely is going to get a lot of love.
I think we're going to be wearing the aqua jerseys in Washington. Don't they usually wear their whites? Washington's like us at home, so that'll be cute. I love. We don't wear the aquas that much.
And I know on the road we don't really get to pick, so I guess I didn't even know. I didn't even hear that we were wearing the aqua this week. So
I think it's just conjecture because Washington usually goes with white at home,
yeah,
okay.
that would make sense because I
like we
knew.
do.
Yeah, yeah, that would make sense. So for sure, and we will find out then because I know back when I know in 1984 that like second game when we played that was the then Washington Redskins way back then, but Dan Marino started his like record breaking year and we went up there and he put up big numbers and we were wearing the aqua. So you might be white for whatever reason that game stands out to me. That was a fun game up there, you know, up there. Well, guys, we're almost here at the end of the show. Don and Jordan and Hooked Up Joe, extra special thanks to you guys for dropping in on the chat in the video today. And of course, Scotty, Miss Fins, Michelle, all of you guys rock. If you're new to the channel, nail that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. So do you guys have anything to say before I close out the show, guys?
Thanks for having us, man.
No, thank you for coming in. And Jordan, thank you for coming in too, man. So you
Thanks.
all right, guys. That's it, man. So it's a
Yeah.
big fins up to all you guys. I'll be here tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. and also Sunday morning. I will be live with a pregame show as the Dolphins get ready to take on the Commanders up in Washington area, Landover, Maryland. So fins up, guys. Dolphins #1.
Dolphins thirsty, they never show no mercy. On the field or in the game, Miami knows how to play. Dolphins thirsty, we all get down and dirty. Tell you what you wanna know, it's the Dolphins Show. Quench your thirst for all things Miami Dolphins. They are the football kings, cause they play to win. Come on in and have some fun, whether we have lost or we have won.